just had a comment from someone called Shelby saying your videos make me a little depressed. Imagine how they make me feel. Anyway, hi, hello, it's me, I'm back. I was going to post a wine mukbang. Not like all my videos aren't one anyway, but it ended up turning into my depression part 2. Hang on, I look like I'm on Euphoria. I think we're going to make out just then. So I thought while I'm in a hotel I should do a morning routine, but that would involve me actually having a routine and waking up before 11:30. Actually, I do have a routine if you count coffee and a panic attack. I'm just not very good with mornings. Like, the first thing I think when my alarm goes off is like, my life serves no purpose at any hour of the day, let alone this one. Like, anything I need to do now, I can do at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, all I've got to do is get my whole entire life together. Anyway, I'm doing a get ready with me. I might try and lose my virginity in Thailand to the room service boy. That would involve me having to look alive first. Or at least like I once had a pulse, because right now if I died it'd be a closed casket funeral. I feel like I don't need to say that I don't prime. I mean, I also don't regularly exercise, but you don't need me to tell you that. Oh, Jesus Christ. And people wonder why I sleep with makeup on. It's a lot easier looking at Kung Fu Panda than Quasimodo. Step 1, foundation. Concealer, full face of concealer. Now you might think, why do you use a full face of concealer? Does it cover your acne? No. But does it make me look a little less like I have high blood pressure? Yes. It just stays on for a really long time and I have trust issues. Like, if my foundation won't stay with me, then no one will. I've had the same makeup routine for 5 years. I think I'm just not good with change. I mean, I barely change my tampon. Do you ever look at yourself and think it can't get any worse than this, and then like 6 months later you see a picture of yourself from the time that you said it couldn't get any worse and it did? And then you want to look like how you looked 6 months ago. I feel like a lot of people want to look like Kendall Jenner. I just want to look like myself. Preferably myself 4 years ago. If I get a single comment about the health and safety hazards of my makeup routine, I'm not a doctor. I do this so hopefully one day I can marry one and then he can deal with the consequences. Step 2, powder. Groundbreaking tutorial, Abby. I've been thinking a lot about my life recently for once. I don't have a competitive nature. What am I doing? I don't have a competitive nature at all. Like, I don't think that I have. I think I'm completely missing that emotion. Like, maybe if I had it, I would have done like more sport or something, or maybe like got past level 1 on the beat test. A girl was talking about like how she gets so jealous over everything, and that's like one thing I don't get. I mean, I don't get much things, including paychecks. Is people who get jealous over everything. Like, and when I say everything, I mean everything. That people are jealous of, like Logan Paul and like a 7-year-old who does toy reviews on YouTube. And it's like, sure, he's a millionaire, but like, before he did it, did you ever think to yourself, I want to be a toy reviewer? Probably not. Like, people get jealous over things they don't even want. I don't even get jealous over things that I do want. The only thing I'm jealous of is Robert Pattinson's mattress. I'm just gonna stop listing the steps now. Like, you're not an idiot. Like, you're not gonna think that I'm doing my eyebrows while I'm doing this. I've realised that I've completely forgot to mention the child in the back. I'm babysitting and probably going to be arrested. I feel like for me, life just feels like a race that I didn't know I entered, and I don't realise until it's too late. Like, there's no chance that I can win this race anymore. I mean, at this rate, I'm not even coming in the top 7 billion. But maybe I'd be willing to try running if I wasn't so fucking tired all the time. Like, I'm not asking for the world or like a tart Bahamas trip. But maybe having enough energy to change all my bed sheets and not just the pillowcase every 3 months. I had the same load of washing spinning in the machine for 5 days because I couldn't be bothered doing anything about it. But then again, I've had the same thoughts running through my mind for 5 years because I can't be bothered doing anything about them. My level of laziness is sometimes I think about getting kidnapped. But be kidnapped by someone who realises he just doesn't really like me, but then also doesn't want to kill me. So he just like locks me in his basement with fan fiction, wine, and maybe a vibrator. If you think that's fucked up, ever since Zac Efron played Ted Bundy, I've been walking around listening to the Ted Bundy tapes like a fucking podcast. Honestly, that's better than my music taste. If it's not 2011 David Guetta, I'm not listening. That's another thing. Can we get Audible for fan fiction? Because I currently have Jimin speaking fake Korean in my voice. Does anyone else do that, where like you imagine you fall in love with someone from another country and you just completely make up their whole language? And then you think you're fluent in another language, but that language is just Simlish. Do you ever think about how 18-year-olds in America and 18-year-olds in like literally the rest of the world are so different? Like, to us 20 years old, because we've been legally drinking since 18 and illegally drinking since breastfeeding. What the fuck? In America, you can drive, live alone, vote for the leader of your country, but you can't be trusted with a vodka cranberry. By the time you're 19 in Australia, all your social interactions are just an excuse to day drink without people thinking it's a problem. 21 just seems like such a bad age to start being legal. Like, you probably just graduated college, think you're gonna start your career, not start like Alcoholics Anonymous. Imagine having to order a virgin sex on the beach after just losing your virginity by sex on the beach. There's a lot of things about America that don't make sense, and I think the biggest one is, why is temperature measured in Fahrenheit and not Celsius, and why is weight done in pounds and not kilograms? Whoever decided that would be the measuring system shares the same bloodline with whoever said they put milk before cereal. Now, what I'm about to say might get me into a little trouble, and I'm not trying to not like other girls you right now, but pizza just isn't that good. It's just that every time you ask someone what their favourite food is, they say pizza, and it's like, you eat Domino's. That's like saying you love jazz music while listening to Ariana Grande. Okay, I don't know what look I was going for with this, but this wasn't it. Okay, I don't know if I'm making this up in my head or I just haven't seen enough movies, although I've seen everything on Netflix so many times that my VPN's in Vietnam. Has anyone else noticed that we have so many unconventionally attractive male actors, yet there's no women in romance films who aren't a 10 out of 10? Like, we've had Michael Cera playing love interests. We've had Adam Sandler hooking up with Jennifer Aniston. I know that 7 times out of 10 the guy is inhumanly attractive. No one's forgotten about Edward Cullen. But it's so frustrating when, like, the ugly duckling girl, like the socially awkward virgin, is played by, like, Anne Hathaway, and her love interest looks like Megamind. There's literally a movie out right now where Charlize Theron falls in love with Seth Rogen. Don't get me wrong, Seth Rogen's hot. I'd let him crack my head open like a coconut. But that's because of his personality. I feel like guys don't have that. Like, I feel like guys don't have that thing where, like, a woman can be attractive because of her personality. If anything, it makes her less attractive that she has one. I'm not even talking about personal experience. I mean, I get it. Sometimes I struggle to touch myself. But I just know so many beautiful, smart, interesting girls who have been called ugly, dumb, and annoying. I have also been called these things, but that's more like fact-checking than insult. Speaking about boys, which seems to be the only thing I talk about apart from my private parts, we need to talk about Shawn Mendes. This is a man that I'm not allowed to follow on Instagram because I have such visceral, I don't know what that means. I just have very open reactions to him. Like, if I was in public and he posted that picture of him shirtless eating an avocado, I would have walked into traffic. But he also gives me the weirdest vibe. Here we go, me talking about energies. He just seems like that guy in school that everyone was obsessed with because he was so hot, and they all play it off like it's his personality because he's so charming, and they're like, oh, he's so nice, he's lovely, and you're like, okay, but he called me ugly 2 weeks ago and pushed me into a locker at recess. There's just people I know if I met I wouldn't get along with. Like, Sugar from BTS would elbow me in the throat on sight. Do you ever wish someone wasn't the love of your life because you have a feeling that they are, and it's like someone that you hate but you have like a really weird connection with, and it feels like you can never escape them? Like, you know, the person that you never want to see again in your entire life, but you always bump into them, and it's always like the worst times. Like when you're at the supermarket and all you have in your basket's like a lean cuisine and boxed wine, and you're wearing the same thing they saw you in last time, so then you're homeless and have no clothes. It's always like the weirdest times as well, at like 1:37 p.m. on a Tuesday, and it's like, don't you have a job? I mean, I don't, and that's why I'm here. I went to school with this one boy that I was convinced was the one for a while. I mean, we did all the same subjects, we were in all the same classes, and we both had personalities driven by depression and ADHD. But then he was like the better version of me, because he was top of all our classes and I was the bottom. And then again, it was drama and theatre studies. He was hardly any closer to curing cancer than the rest of us. On the topic of this, I worry about finding the love of my life too early. Like, I'm not ready for that. I'm not even ready to pay taxes. I mean, one of my personality traits is that my vagina smells. Like, that's not a personality trait, that's a UTI. Like, if I met him tomorrow and I knew it was him, I'd tell him, we will revisit this when we're 25. When I still don't have a stable income, but you do. God, I feel sorry for Robert Pattinson that I'm the love of his life. Imagine having a jawline like that just to end up with someone who doesn't have one. I kind of do want a relationship, but I also just don't want to have to make sacrifices. Like, it's so dramatic. It's like I gave up my personality and carbs, and in return my boyfriend said he won't catch feelings for other women when he cheats on me. 50% of couples are just forcing themselves to be together because I think that being alone is sad. I mean, I think what's sadder is not even liking the person you love. And then to prove to everyone that they have feelings for each other, they do shit like pop each other's pimples. Like, no one thinks your boyfriend loves you because you let him Dutch oven you. Imagine having sex with someone and then 10 minutes later they're having a shit with the door open. I mean, I say all this negative shit about relationships, but at the end of the day, I'd let BTS ruin my life just to get a picture of Jimin's Willy Wonka. Great, all of that to look like Malibu Hagrid. This quite possibly could be the worst get ready with me on YouTube, considering I think I might have looked better before I started. And on that note, I'll leave you alone now. If you made it this far, I love you, and if you've never seen my face before, subscribe, don't subscribe, like, don't like, you make your own choices, boo. Love ya. Also, you didn't tell me that the shuttle bus isn't a shuttle bus, it's a fucking tractor.
Oh, they got a shuttle bus.
Honestly, that was a death trap. I didn't even think I was going to make it to the facial. She's got a mask on my face and she's covered my lips with it so I can't breathe out my mouth. And she starts massaging my nose. I was like, I can't fucking breathe. And then she's massaging my arm. And then she just holds my hand, like waffles it, like that. I was like, where's this going? Well, that was the other thing. It doesn't end. She puts all the oils on my face and everything, then gets a wet wipe and wipes it all off. I was like, what am I paying for? And then she grabbed my foot, and honestly, I thought I was going to die, pushing all my pressure points. And I was having like anaphylactic fits on the table. I think I've developed epilepsy. I realised how bad my anxiety is. I didn't relax for a second. My mind was racing. I was thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner on this day next year. Nothing felt better than when I was on the death trap tractor, but he stopped at Family Mart, and I was like, thank God.